Anthony Davis makes his debut for the Dallas Mavericks amid the Luka Dončić trade protests. We'll break it all down on the pregame show. Coming up next on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Here we go. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella and Mr. Fourth and Long himself, Jesse Holly. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys, coming your favorite team every single day. We really appreciate you joining us here live on DLLS Sports. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe while you are here as well as we get you ready for today's game, this afternoon's game between your Dallas Mavericks and the Houston Rockets. The Mavericks, of course, we'll see Anthony Davis make his debut today for Dallas. Meanwhile, the Houston Rockets looking to snap a 5-game losing streak, all amid the Luka Dončić protests that are taking place live right now outside of the American Airlines Center. Here in just a moment, we'll welcome in our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato, who is live at the American Airlines Center. Game number 53 on the season for Dallas, as the Mavericks, of course, are 27-25. Entering play today, 14-10 at home. Rockets 32-19, 17-10 away from Toyota Center in Houston. Mavericks, though, 3.5-point favorite as the Mavericks see the debut of Anthony Davis with the over-under at 226.5, gentlemen, as it's a very interesting day, to say the least. Understatement of 2025. Obviously, there's a lot of tension outside of the American Airlines Center. Obviously, fans are still reeling from the trade that sees Luka Dončić a member of the Los Angeles Lakers, but the Mavericks move forward today with their newest superstar in one Anthony Davis. With that, let's welcome in our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato, who is reporting live from the American Airlines Center. Jason Kidd speaking pregame as well to his thoughts, not only on the trade, but when he knew. But obviously, Tim, very, very different day for this Mavericks team as they try to forge on in the amidst of what is controversy outside of the building right now.
Yeah, no. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from the opening jump, just walking up to the arena, obviously with, fans outside and, protest visible. Like, one of the first things I see, 3 blocks away from the arena, 2 blocks away from the arena is, this box truck with fire Nico Harrison, sell the team, that's being displayed. I mean, it's I know, Bobby, you were out there even more than I was, but certainly we can work our way inside, talk about what Jason Kidd said. I think there was some interesting stuff there, but yeah, I mean, Bobby, you were out there longer. I'd love to just kind of hear your thoughts on what you saw from the fans outside the arena.
I mean, there was a lot of people. I got there a little before noon, and there was maybe like 5 or 10 people outside. But by the end, I mean, it was almost, the entire staircase at the end of Victory Plaza, out onto the sidewalk. The barricades were in the middle of the street on Nowitzki Way. So, I mean, there was probably, I'm terrible at counting. Like, I was never good at the jelly bean thing inside the jar. But, I mean, there was at least a few hundred people out there by the end. There were a lot of signs. There was a lot of chanting. Dude brought a megaphone, and that really reinvigorated things when I thought it was slowing down. But yeah, I mean, there was fire Nico. Nico sucks. Sell the team. We want Luka. Bring him back. He's not fat. There was a lot of that stuff. But the one thing that is good is that there was never any violence. There was never any like serious concerns or anything. And also, a lot of the times whenever people gather and there's a police presence, things tend to escalate, but arena security and police stayed away and just kind of let fans be fans and let them do what they needed to do, and that was great. So good stuff all around. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of I wouldn't say mixed emotions. There's generally just one side of emotions right now, and but Mavs fans were able to express it, and they did it respectfully-ish, and we move.
And based on Twitter, I mean, the crowd has only grown. It looks like, a few hundred is the minimum of what I'm seeing from these videos. The Mavs casket, the casket is back.
Oh wow, the casket is back
from Twitter right now.
Oh wow, okay, so it is full on as far as this protest is concerned. Jesse, have you ever seen anything like this?
Never. I mean, I've never been in a city that has. I was just I've never been in a city that has traded away, I guess, their best player in a manner like this, and then have the city react in this way. Now, I've been around for other protests,
sure,
but not a protest that was sports related. This is one of a kind. This is a unique thing to see, and it goes to show you that fandom is real, right? Like people. And I've really been sitting on this and contemplating this and really trying to grasp the entire concept of it. And, I've just come to the conclusion that some people just feel a overwhelming emotional tie to a person and or team. And you don't have to understand it. You don't have to like it. That's just the way it is. And I think, Bobby, you said it best. As long as it stays peaceful, that's the biggest thing, right? As long as this thing stays peaceful, then sure, write your signs, sure, have your megaphones, and bring out your Mav caskets, and you can do all of those things.
That's awesome.
That's what it is.
But this is a very unique, very, very, very unique. I mean, the trade was unique. This for a unique trade, you have these unique circumstances.
And can I say one thing real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I understand, and I'm not pushing back whatsoever, Jesse. Like, obviously, everybody should say, peaceful. It should be a peaceful protest. But I, as someone who has been to many protests of many different types, and I think that word sometimes gets like, it's seen as synonymous with like, well, violence might break out, or it might be something. That's not. In almost every instance, that's not the case. That shouldn't happen. But I don't think there's any expectation that's going to happen tonight. I don't think there's any expectation that anyone is out here trying to, with action, do anything. What they want to do is they want to express visibly and audibly, what they're feeling. So I just wanted to make that note real quick that, that's my expectation, and that's what everything has been outside from what I've seen.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to make it a point to say, so this morning a reporter posted pictures. There was like this barricade kind of set up on Victory Plaza to, I think the idea was that it would contain or like prevent people that were just there to let their voice be heard from getting into Victory Plaza. It was keeping fans out. That's not actually what it was. Anyone could just walk right in. You didn't have to show a ticket or anything. The barricades were there to keep it from spilling into the street. And then also it kind of kept that away from, as you get closer to the arena, if you've never been to American Airlines Center, if you come in from the plaza, as you get closer to the arena, there's like big kind of like cement containers where like they put plants and stuff, and it just gets a lot tighter. And so if people get closer, then it's just gonna be impossible for anybody to get anywhere. So that kind of barricaded, cordoned off area was actually perfect because it was huge. Everyone could fit. No one was gonna get into the street. People that were going to the game could just go to the game. Like, it ended up being perfect. And again, there was no sort of like, hey, y'all need to get out of here from the police or security or anything. Everyone could just say what they needed to say. And, again, we move forward.
Jason Kidd also speaking prior to today's game as well. What did Kidd have to say with his pregame press conference as the Mavericks look to try to get a win today against the Rockets?
Yeah, the quick basketball notes before we get to the big thing that I want to discuss from it is that Anthony Davis is playing. His minutes restriction is 36 to 38 minutes. So, which is to say, he's playing. He's fully available. They won't probably not push him into the 40-minute mark, but he's fully available. Same goes for Kyrie, who's been playing a lot of minutes. Been playing a lot of 40. A lot of games have been in the 40s when it comes to his minutes. And Jason Kidd was asked about that. He didn't, he kind of focused on this game, but said over the past week, probably been a lot of minutes for him, basically saying, probably played him more than I wanted. But the hope, I think every game is to keep him under 40, and that's the hope tonight. The other on-court note is that Anthony Davis shouldn't have any problems fitting in defensively. First of all, just because he is so good that he's someone who can fit into any system because he is a ridiculously talented defensive player, but especially a defensive player. Dallas runs a very similar system to Vogel, who is an advisor of this team. He was his name's in the media guide, so. Obviously Jason Kidd was on the staff with Frank Vogel when Dallas when the Lakers won in 2020. And then Jason Kidd said the offense is going to pivot around Anthony Davis. So I think you're going to see a lot of what you're very familiar with from Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford and Dwight Powell, a lot of high post hub action type stuff. But I think the obvious big thing to come from the press conference was Tim Cato, long time. Very, very well known, very well respected journalist came in, and he asked Jason Kidd pretty directly and pretty not confrontationally, but conversationally. They were both. He was there to not just ask one question. He was there to ask Jason, just to get this on the record. You said that you did not know until the very end, and Jason Kidd. Said he didn't know until the 11th hour. Tim, pushed back at that and was like, "What does the 11th hour mean?" Jason Kidd said basically he was, he was given a call to come up to the hotel room where Nico was finalizing the trade. That's Jason Kidd's story of how he came to know, and he was asked, Tim followed up and said, "Are you okay with that?" A lot of head coaches do have or want influence into front office decisions, or at least knowledge and awareness of them. And so Jason Kidd's response was, "I'm an employee of the Mavericks." And there was this whole analogy made about how he doesn't, it's not his job to buy the groceries. It's his job to take the groceries he has and cook with them. So that was his very clearly enunciated stance in this press conference today when asked, asked in a just very direct way about his stance and all that. Obviously, this is relevant because there's ESPN's Tim McMahon has mentioned that Nico Harrison was not the only person kind of within the Mavericks organization who was okay or approving of this move, or maybe even motivated to make the move. I do not know. I cannot tell you, Jason Kidd's. I do not have direct sourcing or information about Jason Kidd's involvement in this trade beyond what he said. I can tell you people around the league seeing that Tim McMahon comment, all very, very quickly point to Jason Kidd as the person they think he's referring to in that report. Certainly I think Mavs fans, or I know Mavs fans, have noticed that, Luka on Instagram, he unfollowed Jason Kidd and he unfollowed Nico Harrison, but he still follows Michael Finley. So if that's something that matters in this day and age, where, college football fans track flights and, I guess we are tracking Instagram follows, but that is the thing that most stood out because, and it could be true. It could be true that Jason Kidd literally did not know until, 10 p.m. that night or 9 p.m. that night. But, it is at least a interesting question that I cannot answer, but other people seem to be hinting at that Jason Kidd had more approval or more pushing or more involvement, at least in the idea to trade Luka, if not the actual trade of Luka, then perhaps we knew to this point.
My man Kidd hit him with the "I'm just here along for the ride." that's what it sounds like to me. It's like, I'm just here along for the ride, man.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
He went real. This is above. This is above me. Like that's what he sounded like.
Who likes paying for groceries anyway?
I mean, I
like going grocery shopping until the part where it tells you your total.
But low key, as the chat kind of said, when some strange groceries, get picked up, it's like, hey, honey, where did you get these from? How much did these cost? Because I don't think we normally buy these kind of groceries around here. As a married man, you'll figure that out at some point down the road when either one of you get married. That's okay.
You planning on doing that anytime soon?
HelloFresh.
Well, to beat this analogy to death, let me just say that Anthony Davis is a type of grocery product that Jason Kidd is a big fan of and very familiar with cooking with. So,
just a good solid type of bread, I know that this it's
It's a big ass loaf of
multifunctional.
bread.
It's versatile. Sandwiches, toast, French
I have no
toast.
clue what type of food Luka Dončić is in this analogy, but I can tell you that, Anthony Davis to Jason Kidd is, his favorite cut of steak.
Say Luka got to be brisket, right? You like the meat with a little fat to it. You know what I'm saying?
And it's good all the time. So
It's good all the time.
You know what I'm
Little
saying?
meaty, little fatty, all of it together works well. You know what I mean? It got to be
And
a
it's
brisket.
just delightful.
It's just like exactly. Tim Cato reporting live from the American Airlines Center. My man, appreciate you. You've done a lot of hard work and great work this weekend. I look forward to talking to you post game after this afternoon's game. My guy, appreciate it.
Fascinated to see what's in store out there as I head to head to the court right now.
Take
We're gonna find
videos
out.
and send them
It'll be
to
a
us,
weird one.
please, on Slack.
Obviously.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate you, Tim. That's our Mavericks. We got Tim Cato reporting live from the American Airlines Center. When we come back, we're going to hear from Anthony Davis, who spoke to the media yesterday during his introductory press conference. Klay Thompson on what he is anticipating in today's game as well. And plus, we'll give you some X factors and the Mavericks Player Spotlight going into tonight's game, or this afternoon's game between the Mavericks and the Rockets, all coming up here on the DLLS Mavs pregame show, plus your super chats. Plenty to get to those
Let's
as well.
go.
But before we get there, let's talk to you a little bit about Sleeper.
Yeah, so my sleeper pick of the day. I'm just going with all the big names, all the guys you've heard of. Anthony Davis, his debut, double-double. He is going to get at least 10 points and at least 10 rebounds. He might even go for a triple-double with blocks, maybe even a quadruple-double with assists. But I think he's going to get a double-double. Alperen Şengün, my mortal enemy, I think he's going to get a double-double as well. And then finally, Kyrie Irving, I think he's going to score more than 23.5 points. I think today is a day where Kyrie, AD, Klay, the veteran guys, it's going to be a really weird, different, unique atmosphere in that building. And I think those guys have been through a lot of weird atmospheres, and I think they're going to rise to the occasion and hopefully put on a show. Maybe even the Mavs will win the game. If you think you know ball, download the Sleeper app, use promo code DLLS Mavs, play $5, get $55 to use on any play. Does not have to be your first. Terms and conditions apply. See the terms of use for details. Currently operational in 25 states, including Texas.
Shout out to the over 700 folks watching us live right now on our DLLS Mavs pregame show. We really appreciate all of you supporting us here at DLLS Sports. Has been a wild and crazy last near week for us, whether it be for the Cowboys, Stars, Rangers, Mavericks. It's been wild here, but we appreciate all of you for supporting us here. It's been a huge, huge week for us here at DLLS Sports. Before we continue through our pregame show here and hear from Anthony Davis and Klay Thompson and get you the Mavericks Player Spotlight, let's get to some of our super chats here in our pregame show. Got a lot to get through. Appreciate all of you for that as well. Shout out to Chris Stuckey with the $1.77 super chat.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much. Daniel Escobar, one of
Daniel.
our one of our diehards as well, got the $20 super chat. Yes, keep it classy, Dallas. All love to you, Daniel, for hopping in here with us as well.
I think the overwhelming sentiment, that I saw was everyone wants to yell, everyone wants to be mad.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to do anything more than that. Let's keep it that way. Hey, be cool. We're cool. We're good.
Let your voice be heard.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mitch Mitchell with the $5 super chat. Bring Luka back.
Might cost more than 80 in a one, I'm afraid. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
It's tough. Shout out to Chris Stuckey back in with the $2.77 super chat. Quote, my heart hurts, but I can't quit my team. Hashtag MFFL.
Max Christie is bringing us all back in.
He's keeping us in it. AD is going to help us a little bit more today as well. Mitch Mitchell back in again with the $5 super chat. Bring Luka back. Love all you guys. Laker fan myself. This was corrupt.
Oh.
Laker fan.
Wait a second.
Shout out to you.
We appreciate the 5.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Got 5 on it.
And
Appreciate you.
also, Mitch, make sure you're watching the game on Monday night. Luka is going to do some unholy stuff in his debut. They're playing Utah, all right? Luka's going for Wilt on Monday, all right?
You know who's down bad today, though? Aside from the Mavericks fans outside of the AAC? ESPN.
Oh,
Not even LeBron is
they
playing in that
flexed their schedule to try to get the
messed it all
Mavericks
up.
or get the Lakers game today against the Pacers. LeBron not playing, Luka not playing, and they had to move college basketball games. Right? It's they're going through it at ESPN, but they'll live. Chill Phil 88
With the
$50 golden super chat,
Dude,
I've never
thank
seen
you.
one of those before.
I've never seen the gold on the super chat.
It's beautiful.
77 forever. Thanks for all the great reporting, Nico. A snake.
Chill. So
Go ahead.
Oh, no, Jesse, take it.
I was going to say, who will be the one today to show us on this show how much you love Luka with the $77?
Oh, the $77 super
I've
chat.
seen $1.77. I've seen $2.77. I've seen $5.77.
50?
50? Who wants to be the 77? Who wants to be the big dog 77 and show us just how much of a Luka fan you are?
Or just how pissed off you are.
That is the sentiment, though. So, Chill Phil, first off, thank you very much. We really
Yes.
appreciate that.
Thank
but
you.
I talked to, I don't know, probably between, I didn't talk to everybody, but I talked to like 5 or 10 different fans, in and around the protest while I was there. And every single person that came up that had seen one of our shows, there's a lot of people that were in the chat at the event, maybe even more than 10, maybe closer to 20, but that were just really appreciative of some of the things that we've said, and that said, like, this podcast, I was hanging out with Nick and Slightly up there, Locked On Mavs, helped them get through the week. Like, fans are really hurting. Fans are really upset. And I think one of the cool things about our platform is that we can just be upset with them.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to advocate for y'all. We're trying to connect with y'all. We're trying to, build community with y'all. We were just as dumbfounded and upset as you were in some respects.
Hell, still are.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't get it. But it really means a lot that we're able to do something that you can connect with and relate to. And I mean, we're only doing this because we care about the community.
Let's get to Claymore K with the $10 super chat.
Claymore.
Mavericks fans, I'm with you in spirit. I live in San Antonio. Wish I was home in Dallas. Proud of my city for the protest. This is the treatment we should have given the Cowboys long ago.
Have the Cowboys fans ever rallied like this?
No.
What would it take?
70, 80 years it is?
30 years already.
It's been 30 years and not
Ooh.
really, yeah. So
77 years?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe.
my God.
I don't think there's a. I don't
Oh! Whoa!
Let's
Chill
go.
Phil. Chill
Hell
Phil
yes.
said, "I'm gonna put my money
Let's go.
where Jesse's mouth is."
Wait,
and
what?
yeah, pause. I'm just saying. You the one that called it
I
out.
know, but
you called it out.
Put their money with my
Move
mouth
forward.
there.
Move forward.
I don't want
You
nobody
made it weird. You didn't have to make it weird.
No, you said it out loud.
You didn't have to make it weird. Chill Phil 88 with the $77 super chat. Dirk to Luka. Loyalty never fades
It
away.
never does.
Been a fan since the Van Exel days.
Hell yes, Chill Phil. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Shout
you
out to
so
you.
much.
Thank you, Chill.
And I could not, I mean, obviously there's only so many places to gather outside the arena, but I could not ignore the symbolism of all of this happening right underneath the Dirk statue. And inscribed on the statue is "Loyalty never fades away." And there have been Mavs fans that have, made had some wordplay with that, like "Loyalty never fades away, but it does step back," or "Except for Luka," or "MFFL means money first, fans last." And there's just a lot of And I was talking to somebody else there, and we just kind of got to the point where it's like the Mavs, their like team identity is so tied up in Dirk and so tied up in loyalty that like loyalty is almost the team's brand. But now it's not. So like whenever you trade Luka, you're also you're rebuilding your identity. You have to reconstruct your identity. And so for it all to happen for the team that Dirk played for it's just really bizarre. It's really bizarre.
Ozzy D with the $4.99 super chat. Why was Nico not at the intro presser? Were reporters threatening Nico? Kevin, no, I was not threatening Nico at all. There's enough people doing that, unfortunately, themselves. But we did, nice segue, appreciate Ozzy D for the $4.99 super chat. We did have a chance to talk to the players yesterday. Also had the good fortune of not sitting down because we were standing up. Had a chance to talk to Rich Paul, the agent of Anthony Davis as well, and of course the Clutch Sports CEO, and got his thoughts on that as well. You can check out alldlls.com for my conversation with him there. The audio version is also available on our podcast platform as well. But Anthony Davis yesterday, I did have a chance to ask him during the intro presser, what was Nico Harrison's vision for you to come to this team as the centerpiece of this deal, and what this team can look forward to as you get ready to make your debut for this team? Here's what Anthony Davis had to say.
He said in his press conference about defense and winning championships, and obviously I'm a defensive-minded guy, and like I said, I think adding what I'm able to do defensively, whether it's in pick and roll, on the post and the perimeter, whatever the case may be, I can add value to this team and help the guys who's already great defensively, and also help the guys who maybe struggle. So, bringing that defensive energy, that defensive mindset, to this team, and I think that's what we are going to lay our hats on. You can't control the ball going in every single night, but you can control your energy and effort on the defensive end. So that's what I'm going to try and do. That's what I want to instill into the guys, and hopefully that let us carry to win some games.
And as I was getting ready for this game, fellas, one of the things I found very interesting with the acquisition of Anthony Davis, obviously one of the best defensive players in the league, multi-time all-defensive player in the league as far as first teams are concerned. With the acquisition of Anthony Davis, if you include Derek Lively II, who's obviously injured right now, the Mavericks now have the 2nd, 5th, and 9th guys in terms of blocks per game so far this year. AD averaging over 2 blocks per game. Daniel Gafford averaging 1.8. Derek Lively, even though he's injured right now, averaging 1.7. So you got 3 of the top 10 guys in blocks per game on this team. Defense is going to be the name of the game, and it doesn't get much better than arguably getting the best defensive center, in the league as far as Anthony Davis is concerned.
No, absolutely. And we talked about this earlier in the week. Like, this team is being built for playoff runs, right? Like, I know that you want to get into it and win. So you got to get there first. But, these teams are now looking at, okay, what do we have to face going forward, right? And you start talking about teams that are in the West that they may have to go through to get to a championship. And if you don't have something at the rim, a multiple options at the rim, then you can find yourself down bad. And I think this is one of the things that they got. And we forget just how offensively good Anthony Davis can be. So it gives you a lot of hope to know that he can go on one end of the court and give you 30 on any and every given night, and then come down on the other end, give you 8 or 9 defensive rebounds and 3 or 4 blocks a game in a playoff series. And so that right there is going to be a big help. And then when he's like kind of out of the lane, you got Gafford, you got Lively. You just have a plethora of players that you can keep throwing at, bigs on the other teams. You can keep, that's 18 fouls. What is that? 18 fouls that you can give up in the paint right there. That kind of stuff you may need down the stretch. And instead of coming into those games, and we've seen it before, you're like, oh boy, we're down to Maxi Kleber. We're down to
Kessler Edwards guarding
Embiid. Right? We're down. This is our guy that we got to put in because someone's in foul trouble or someone's hurt. And now you're saying, I'm okay with Gafford being in the game. I'm okay with Davis being in the game. I'm okay with Lively being in the game at any point in time in the game, defending and guarding anybody on the opposing team. So I think that's a good look, and you just hope the rest of it comes together offensively with the guards and the wings, that it all now works for the good of the Mavericks.
Yeah, the new reality is obviously Luka is gone. So going into a playoff series, Mavs fans used to be able to look at this team and say, okay, who does the other team have that can guard Luka? Now it is, who does the other team have that can guard AD? What is AD's matchup at both ends of the floor? And we'll see depending on what OKC does with its starting lineup. But a lot of these other teams in the West, like if AD is at the 5, Jokic does not want to deal with AD, dude. Right. On whenever AD has the ball. Now, stopping Jokic is another thing entirely. He's incredible. You can't do it, but the Mavs now have a lot of size to at least contend with him. They have a lot of
fouls.
They can rotate.
Right. Yes.
The Wolves, Gobert's probably too slow. Randall's too small. The Lakers, one of the last games AD played as a Laker, he was giving Mark Williams like 40 points.
Yeah.
40 and 20. And a lot of these teams are teams that the Mavs might have to face in the playoffs or in the play-in, unfortunately. I mean, the Suns don't have the size. The Clippers don't have the size. Like, none of these teams really have, in the West at least, a really good matchup for AD. So that is going to be the new identity of the team, is we're going to punish the teams that can't match up with AD at the 4, and if they can, then we're going to put AD at the 5, and we're going to see if you can do that. And it is just the truest, purest version of bully ball, and that's not just AD at the 4 either. Now PJ's playing the 3.
Yes,
and PJ bullies smaller guys. He struggles, I think, to beat sometimes the bigger guys. But if PJ's your small forward, he will never be guarded by a guy that's bigger than him. So they have a lot of length, a lot of size across the roster. And if you're trying to make skip passes, it's like, Jesse, why is reach so important for defensive linemen, and for offensive linemen? You want to be able to get for defensive linemen, you want to be able to bat the balls. For offensive linemen, keep them away. Like, wingspan matters a lot in every sport, and now the Mavs are one of the man-to-man throughout the lineup, up and down the lineup. They got probably the longest wingspan in the NBA. So, they're reshaping their identity on the floor, and we're going to see it happen. Hopefully it happens quickly enough to where, they can make the playoffs and put it to the test.
And just to add this little piece, when you think about like the playoffs, because we're talking about playoffs, it's not like the regular season. Playoffs. It's not like the regular season where it's, they just came off a 5-game road trip where it's just like game. When you get into these series, it's about matchups. It's about how can I give my team the best matchup. And when that team goes to counter the matchup that you just gave them, what can I go to next? And how can I have the advantages? So when you go into these playoff series, you want to be able to have options upon options upon options. And I think it starts, of course, inside with AD, but Kyrie one time will be a matchup issue. Like you just said, PJ will be a matchup issue. AD will be a matchup issue. And then you have the other ancillary guys. You have the Max Christies of the world, the Caleb Loves of the world, and those guys coming in, filling in where they need it. So I think the size of this team right now has definitely grown in a significant amount, and it will give teams a hell of a problem to have to deal with in a series in the playoffs.
So L9 makes a good point. First off, thank you for the super chat, L9. We really appreciate that. But so L9 says Jokic kills AD each time, so it's a problem. So the Lakers obviously have had some famous crash outs against the Nuggets in the playoffs over the last couple of years. But AD for a lot of that was the center for the Lakers, if I'm remembering correctly. Both times they lost to the Nuggets. AD was playing the 5. Whereas now, for better or worse, he's probably going to be the 4, and then you'll have Gafford or Lively on Jokic. And I did a appearance on the All NBA podcast with our guy Adam Mars from DNVR, who hosts the show, and he was saying, as a Nuggets guy, he's primarily a Nuggets coverage reporter guy, podcast or whatever. He was saying that the best way to defend the Nuggets is to have a big body on Jokic and then have another big body that can kind of be right next to Jokic too. Because Aaron Gordon isn't really shooting, he's more cutting. So if you have that size to eat up the paint, both on and off of Jokic, then that's one really good way to at least knock him off his game a little bit around the basket and make it a little tougher for him.
And Live has been able to hold his own against Jokic. We've seen that evidence against Nikola Jokic.
Relatively speaking.
Relative to what you can do against Nikola Jokic. No one's ever stopping him. But appreciate the $4 or the $4.99. That was euros, by the way. $4.99 in euros. By the way, real quick, we're going to get to the rest of these super chats. And Bobby, you have to check.
I think that might have been quid, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Pounds.
Bobby, you'll have to check me on it, but I believe as I was going through some of these numbers today, Anthony Davis averaging 25.7 points per game. That's 10th in the league. Averaging 11.9 rebounds per game. That's 7th in the NBA.
Whoa! We got another super chat.
Oh, okay.
We just got another super chat. Tyler Evans. Tyler Evans
with the 99.99 super chat. Wow.
Closed mouth don't get fed.
No, it does.
Don't put your money in my mouth.
Tyler, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Tyler.
Can I read it, KG?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Tyler says, sports depressed over Luka. Excited for AD and Max. Gonna need 2 ships to make this trade worth it for me. I think you might be right there, man. Is it possible to get KD in the offseason? DLLS has been all I could ask for my Dallas sports. So thank you. Keep up all the great work. Dude, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Seriously, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
I agree with you on the 2 titles. I think it might even take more, depending on how many Luka wins. You might gotta go Luka +1 in order for this one to work. But is it possible to get KD in the offseason? Yes. And I said on the trade deadline special, I want to put this out there.
Yeah.
Prepare yourselves, because if KD changes teams this summer, it will be to be a Maverick. That's just speculation. That's my 6th sense. I get the tingly feeling, and my spidey senses are telling me that the Mavs are going to do what they need to do to get KD.
Oh my gosh.
For better or worse, I think that's going to happen. But I think that team would be really good for like a year or 2.
I mean, and that might be what you need to get a title. But yeah, Anthony Davis, top 10 in points per game, top 10 in rebounds per game, and also top 5 in blocks per game. I could be mistaken, but I think he might be the only player in the top 10 in each of those categories. So I'll have to check that, but I believe so, because the numbers he's putting up is absolutely incredible.
And he can be a steals guy too. He can be an assist guy too. Like, he's a really, really well-rounded player, and I'm not doing this just to cope with losing Luka. AD is really freaking good, you know?
I mean, he's incredible. I mean, again, going through a couple of the accolades. I mean, shout out to Mark Follow yesterday. He did an incredible job laying out the accolades, but just a few, just to kind of give you an idea. Of course, AD making his debut today. He's been out since January 28th with the abdominal strain. This guy's a 4-time first-team All-NBA selection, 3-time first-team All-Defensive, now 10-time NBA All-Star, of course, the NBA champion, and oh, by the way, a member of the NBA's 75th anniversary team. This cat is a baller. He's a fantastic baller, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer when his career is said and done. And right now, arguably the best defensive center in the entire league. So Anthony Davis is going to be making his debut today for the Mavericks. He's going to have some help, gentlemen, by the way. PJ Washington, he's back after missing the last couple of games. The birth of his child, been celebrating that with his wife, obviously. But PJ Washington, he's back. He's having a career year, career highs in terms of rebounds, minutes played per game, steals as well. The Swiss Army knife for the Mavericks is back today in terms of PJ Washington. So looking forward to that. And, of course, as we finish up here, happy birthday to Klay Thompson, who turns 35 years old today. Klay Thompson, of course, scoring 23 of those 25 points that he had in the win against Boston in the first half, 10 of 13 from the field overall, and went, 3 of 5 from downtown. Over his last 8 games, Klay shooting 45.5% from 3. Oof. So Klay filling it up.
He was awesome in Boston. They ran 50 off-ball screens in that Boston game. Mm-hmm. Hang on. Let me... Oh, my God. I wish I would have just had this open beforehand because this is important. It's important to look for. 50 off-ball screens versus Boston, just the 8th time this season. 6 of those games came without Luka. So whenever Luka doesn't play, they're running a lot more stuff away from the ball. The 9th time that they've run at least 20 handoffs, 8 of those games came with no Luka. 7 of their top 8 games in terms of number of drives came without Luka. Now, that's not good or bad. I'm not saying the offense is better or worse without Luka. I'm just saying it's different. Mm-hmm. They're running a lot more handoffs, a lot more screens. They're running a lot more scripted stuff. It's a different kind of offense. So just keep your eye. I would say as they're trying to incorporate AD without a lot of practice time and stuff, they might run a lot more stuff for Klay and Kyrie off screens. It's going to be a different look. And I think, they're going to try and reforge this offensive identity from spread high pick and roll to more of a motion-based triangle principle post-up heavy offense, I think.
I think one of the things I saw in terms of the game against Boston, and I really enjoyed it, honestly, you got Klay coming around. You got Daniel Gafford setting a little brush screen, creates just enough space for Klay to get the ball and be able to knock down the open shot, from the wing. And there's going to be a lot of movement, and we saw it in terms of the assist numbers that we saw against Boston as well. This team was sharing the basketball, moving it well, and hopefully, to your guys' point, something that will continue in terms of the flow of the offense when we see these two, when we see the Mavericks play the Rockets today. Let's finish up our pregame show with the rest of our super chats before we get out of here. From Classic Stangler, all right. With the $4.99 super chat. So what happens after 3 years when all the players are older and their contracts are up?
The good news is they don't have any of their draft picks. So
Nico doesn't care. So
he might not be here anyway.
Yeah. He might be buried.
I'm not going to be here.
He might not be here. This is the window we're looking for.
3 years from now, we will be thinking about the glory days of 10 years ago.
You could be 2 times NBA champions in 3 years from now.
Could be.
Wicker Trailer with the $4.99
and
super
be a
chat.
destination for people that want to come here.
Could be.
Like we don't have to all be doom and gloom.
That's true.
Like we don't have to all be doom and gloom.
It could be sunny 3 years
Right,
from now.
it could be.
I'm the positive person here.
Oh my God.
If I am the positive person here, something is wrong.
That's not true.
The
You're
world
a
is
positive
flipped
guy,
upside
man.
down.
You're a positive guy. Let's go. That was my impression of Jesse. He didn't get it. With the T-shirt.
The T-shirt in the garage.
Yeah, that's right. That was in the garage?
That was in the garage.
I thought it was in the car.
Yeah, it was in the car in the garage.
So
the car was in the garage.
Okay,
Yeah,
got you. Yeah, you should. Have you seen the video before, Jesse, doing that?
I'll show it to you.
T-shirt? Yeah, you'll see it. It's famous. Jesse got a famous video out there. From Claymore K back in with the $5 super chat. The backlash from the Luka trade should prompt NBA commissioner to veto lopsided trades for the future. If only David Stern was still with us.
Wake up, David.
Do you think David Stern would have let this happen?
No. He vetoed Chris Paul going to the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, again, that was different circumstances. The NBA was owning
the team.
the NBA owned the Pelicans at the time, or the Hornets, whatever they were, the Hornets at the time in New Orleans.
It's a big what if.
Yeah, it's a big what if.
Gasol happened though. Pau Gasol. That's kind of like equal.
And that trade honestly, Memphis did not get that was a terrible trade.
Yeah,
I don't want to say it was worse because it was different, but that was an awful trade. All-time bad trade.
That's when the Gasol brothers were trading for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Ozzy D with the $1.99 super chat. All jokes aside, love you guys. New diehard soon.
Go, Ozzy.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. We got to, yes, and this is our last one. Classic Stan Lever back in again with the $9.99 super chat. Do we go back to the 90s? People don't realize we're bad for so long. And we were raised to root for our team's best player, not so much championships. Some of us wanting, was it?
Wanting to win one or two with our guys.
Got it.
And there was a sign. Can I read this real quick before we get out of here? There was a sign that really I feel like captured kind of the sentiment the most. So at the protest, at the rally, whatever we want to call it, a fan made a sign with a lot of pictures of Dirk and a lot of pictures of Luka and Kai, and said, "We never wanted quick rings with temporary superstars and super teams. We wanted a Luka ring." And I think that, you know, the one ring that Mavs fans won with Dirk meant a lot. Granted, I think the Mavs probably should have won 2 or 3, but they won the one, and that mattered a lot. And I think if you would poll Mavs fans a week ago today and said, "Hey, would you rather win 3 titles without Luka or 1 title with Luka?" A lot of them probably would have said 1 title with Luka. Now, whether they're right or wrong, that's how they feel. You know, we're putting it to the test now. Maybe the Mavs win this season. Maybe they win next season too. Maybe they don't ever win another one. Maybe Luka never wins another one, but one in the first place, not another one.
Somewhere, Roddy Bobois is rolling in his grave, saying, "Why you guys didn't feel this way about me?"
I did. I did. I was losing my mind, dude.
KG,
Free Roddy B.
No, I'm thinking about that because, again, I've always said there's a powerful lesson when it comes to how things ended, with, Dirk Nowitzki, obviously the way that he retired, and it was fantastic, but also the way that the Mavericks, once they won that title and then broke everything up, and then at some point, Dirk was like, "I'm going to give some of this money back, try to build." Don't you ever get the money back. If you're an athlete, don't you ever get any money back.
Satnam Singh is sitting around here somewhere saying, "Where were the protests?"
Yeah.
When I got sitting down to the G League.
While an athlete thinks it might be goodwill. Like, hell, it just happened with Anthony Davis. He gave up his $6 million trade kicker for what? Nothing. Don't get no money back.
He's getting a tax break moving here, though, from California.
Awesome.
True.
That is very true.
Saving way more than $6 million, that's for sure.
We will be back here after the game this afternoon between the Mavericks and the Rockets. Again, really appreciate all of you joining us here on our extended DLLS Mavs pregame show. A day that has been filled with protests, energy, good and otherwise, but at the same time, basketball to be played in a matter of moments. Anthony Davis makes his debut. I can't believe I'm saying that. Anthony Davis making his debut with the Dallas Mavericks as they take on the Houston Rockets. Rockets looking to snap a 5-game losing streak. Mavericks looking to extend their win streak to 2 as they begin a 4-game homestand as they get ready to finish up their pre-All-Star break schedule. We will be back 15 minutes after the game is over with our National NBA Insider Mark Stein will join us live from the arena, and our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato will do the same as well.
Thank you guys so much. Seriously, thank you so much.
We appreciate all of you here on DLLS Sports. For Mr. Fourth and Long, Justin Holly himself, that is our Mavericks analyst, Bobby Curl. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you post-game after the Mavericks take on the Rockets. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.